Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another Elestrals Moonrise reveal reaction video. This one's going to be a little weird because it's being uploaded one day late. I completely didn't upload yesterday because of some issues I had with actually recording and finding like a place to record and all that fun stuff. So today we're actually doing two reveal videos and one. I really should say though 1.5 because I actually saw the video that we're looking at right now, but I paused the video when he got some new cards. I saw that the title said Elestrals Clash News, and I was like, I have to hear about this now. I can't wait. So I went ahead. I watched the first part where he talked about Elestrals Clash and all the all the Kickstarter not backer tiers. What are they called? Stretch goals. Where he talked about all the stretch goals that are coming up. That part I watched. I stopped at the new cards. So we're basically going to skip ahead to the new cards. But I do real quick just want to go over a couple of things that he talked about here. Right away, he talked about there is this tweet on Twitter. If we get it to 1,000 retweets, then we will be in a position. We also have to get the Discord to, I think, what was it, 15,000, I think he said, community members. We have to get this tweet as well to 1,000 retweets, and then we will be able to... I forget what the reward is, but he's giving us something. I completely forgot what it is. But he's giving us a full art upgrade. Every single backer will get a full art upgrade in Clash. So that's very, very interesting. He's talking about as well, we unlocked the Zeus raid challenge at 350,000. At 450,000, we unlocked the Artemis raid challenge. At the time of this video coming out, actually, we had not hit this 450,000. We have recently. So we are now... at 450,000, this is unlocked now. This will be in the game. So that is actually really cool. We have the Zeus and the Artemis raid challenges. I don't know really what they are. He went into a little bit of like depth about them. I'm still a little confused. To me, it does seem like it's going to basically be a solo mode where you are challenging the divine gods themselves. So basically, if you challenge Zeus, Zeus will only use Thunder Elestrals. If you challenge Artemis, Artemis will only use Lunar Elestrals. Something like that. There will be a Lunar deck. It will be a Thunder deck. Something like that. That's what I think it is. I still don't really know. We move on a bit further. We hit right here. Full Art Stellar Eddie in the Kickstarter promo packs at 500,000. At 500,000, we will unlock this stretch goal. We will also unlock one other thing at 500,000. Draft mode will be coming to Elestrals Clash. That's how you say words, guys. It's been a long day for me. But all of this will get unlocked at 500,000, which is very, very interesting. So that's like really freaking cool. He might get into here. Yeah, there it is. Draft mode, really, really cool. I'm really excited for that if we are able to hit it. 550,000, we unlock the Stellar Eddie, basically mate is what we're going to get. That's really, really cool. We also unlock this basically backdrop. It's the unfortunate part about this to me is not animated. It's just a still image. Still cool nonetheless, though. I think it's really, really nice. Also, I want to point out, actually, no, wait. Okay, never mind. I misread. I was going to question how this board state came to be. This board state makes sense because you have a rock in your hard place in your hand. That's totally fine, whatever. So that's basically all there was. There was a 600,000 goal. I don't quite remember what it was. Maybe it was. Maybe this was 600,000 goal. I don't think it was, but he told us something else at 600,000. I don't quite remember what it was. But I talked about Shattered Stars a bit. And now we're going to get into the brand new cards. So let's go in and get into the brand new cards.
SS Oct 15 to get 15% off our plushies. All right, let's talk about some brand new Frost
cards
coming.
Keep in mind, this is where I paused the video initially. The rest of this I have yet to see.
To Moonrise. Up first, we've got a brand new counter rune called Aurora Borealis. On a side note, it's on my bucket list to see the Northern Lights, and I hope to do that one day.
Okay, so I want to point out a couple of things. I actually saw pictures of some of the cards that are going to be in this. Maybe not pictures. I don't quite know. I saw the thumbnail of this video. I saw Aurora Borealis. I didn't quite know what it was. I know that it says in the title, there's a new Morphrost. It's going to be Morphrost Scorpio form. We obviously have Aurora Borealis. I think there's one more new card in this video that I've seen on Twitter by, I think Shady Penguin tweeted it out. He had his creator reveal. I don't quite remember what it was, but it's a receive Elestral. I think it was a 4-2 receive. that allows you to, when it receives a Frost, send the top 3 cards from your deck to your Underworld. I think it's the first ascension of Blistrix, which is very interesting because you want Blistrix in the Underworld. So I think that's actually really, really cool, and it's a nice little thing for them to get. But let's see what Aurora Borealis does.
But for now, Frostix is going to show us Aurora
one cost,
Borealis.
love that.
It's a super cool 1-cost counter rune that says you can discard a card in order to enchant up to 1 Frost from your Underworld to your field and return up to 1 Frost from your Underworld to your Spirit deck. What this does is a few things that are interesting. One,
Okay, well, I'm going to let him speak in just a second. I want to quickly give my initial thoughts on this. Initially, this is not going to be, this is quite obviously not a counter rune that's going to see a ton of play in any deck that's not Frost. If you are not running Frost, there's no point in running this. So it's not going to be like, it's not going to be like your next Tsunami, basically. Because Tsunami is a 1-cost water counter rune that every single deck can play just because it can affect so many decks. This only affects Frost, therefore, it's only going to be seen play in Frost decks. Initially, I'm not the most convinced by this, but I do see a little bit of potential. So this enchants. Not only does it enchant 1, it also heals you 1. So basically, this card goes even in terms of spirit differential. You're costing 1. You're spending 1 to pay for it, but you're healing 1. So overall, it's basically a free cast that just says discard a card, enchant a Frost from your Underworld to your field. That's basically what this says. Obviously, you do need to have a bit of setup for this. You do need to have at least 2 Frosts in your Underworld. I'll be honest, it's Frost. That's such an easy thing to do. Frost typically just mulligans right off the bat just to get 2 Frosts into your Underworld. So that's actually very, very easy in Frost just to get that. However, something to note about this is that so basically you're discarding 1 to enchant 1. That can be helpful in a lot of different ways. You can enchant onto a Catarang to heal a bit more. You can enchant it to that new card I just said, that I don't remember the name of, to mill a bunch of cards. Those are currently the only 2 receive Elestrals we have. You can basically make it a battle trick to potentially, if you have like Mountains of Moonrise on board and you need to get an additional attack. This can be helpful for that. I don't really think so far this card is going to be crazy, but I think in Frost Mill, since we do have that new receive Elestral, this is actually going to be very, very good. I think in Blistrix deck specifically, since you want to mill your deck, I think this is actually very, very powerful for that reason. But I'm going to let him talk. Maybe there's some things I missed. Let's see. It
allows you to toss a card from your hand to the Underworld. That can
That's
be
also
really
fair.
useful in Frost. Considering
that actually is also fair, because if you have a Blistrix in hand, you can just discard it to get it into the Underworld. So now, boom, it's in the Underworld. There you go.
Cards like to be in the Underworld, especially when factoring in cards like Morfrost Bat Form, which really appreciate being discarded from your hand. And it allows you to enchant something on your field with a Frost Spirit on your Underworld, so essentially a free enchant, and then you get to heal yourself as well. So ultimately, this card becomes a free card to cast from a Spirit perspective. It's really just the cost of discarding the card that you have to work around.
Yes.
But again, it can be paired very, very effectively with cards like Morfrost Bat Form to do some really cool stuff, especially on...
I think this card would be actually a lot better if it was an Invoke, but it also might be incredibly way too powerful. Maybe an Invoke that costs 2, but I feel maybe that would be just a little bit too much. I feel like this is fine as a counter rune. I'm a little afraid that it's too weak, though.
On your opponent's
but
turn,
again,
because this is a counter.
There are situations
really
for
cool
it.
Synergy with cards like Catarang, which heal once they receive Frost Spirits, and there's some other cards that are going to be coming in the future.
That's the new card. So I will actually go to Shady Penguin's Twitter after this video is done to show you guys that new card, because I think it's really, really cool, and it's something to know. That is the card. That's the card that I'm talking about.
See what cool ideas and strategies you guys cook up with this awesome new counter rune. I don't know about y'all, but I love me some Morfrost. We've got a brand new Morfrost form.
Scorpio form. Yeah, I saw this one.
Morfrost Scorpio form.
I did not see its effect, but I saw it. I saw what it looked like.
Stars too.
I also saw this is going to be a stellar. So
Frost Celestial with 2 attack and 2 defense with a dastardly effect. When you cast this Morfrost, you can discard a Morfrost in order to target an opponent's Celestial and set its base defense to 0 until the end phase. During this turn's end phase, you can expend 2 Frost Spirits in order to destroy that Celestial. This basically functions similarly to Poison Tipped Arrow as a delayed destruction effect on Morfrost Scorpio, but it also pairs really nicely with Frost cards like Cryoblast and of course Morfrost Bat Form, which we mentioned earlier, as a discard opportunity to throw that to the Underworld and then be able to revive another Morfrost from your Underworld. When you can search out 2 Morfrosts with Morfrost Lycan, you can easily grab Scorpio form and Bat form and be able to execute this combo perfectly, especially...
No, I don't like it. It's a neat card for in the game, right? It's neat. This has a lot of potential in the future. Right now, I think this is just not good. And the reason why I think it's not good, what is Morfrost's primary issue? The problem with Morfrost is that it is one of the most expensive decks in the game. The amount of spirits that you're dishing out just to basically get your game plan going is insane. That by like turn 4 or whatever, you could be down 10 spirits, and that's just common. That is so common for Morfrost. They did not need removal, delayed removal, mind you. They did not need delayed removal that forced you to expend more spirits. What they needed was a way to heal themselves more easily. And yes, you can technically do that with Catarant, but the deck space in Morfrost is so tight because you have to play so many Morfrost. It would be nice to give them a Catarant in Engine, like a Morfrost Catarant form or whatever, something like that. A Morfrost that heals you would be so much better for this deck, not delayed destruction, right? Not delayed removal. That, to me, does not seem good. I think this card is very bad and arguably makes Morfrost a worse deck than it currently is because you're spending more spirits, which is the primary issue with this deck. This deck, it can be very powerful, but you're spending so many spirits just to get this going. Again, maybe this is the idea with Morfrost. It's the deck that has a bunch of really cool effects that force you to expend spirits because of how powerful those effects are. But really, like, this is a worse version of PTA. That's what this is. Like, you not only do you have to discard a Morfrost, which to be fair might not be the worst thing in the world. If you can discard like a Bat form or whatever, not the worst thing in the world. But you have to discard a card. You have to set its base defense to 0, depending on when you're using this. You can only use it during your turn. It might not be the best thing in the world. And if you're not able to destroy them that way, expend 2 to destroy it. This is just worse than PTA, because if PTA can at least be used during your opponent's turn, it reduces attack, and it only, technically speaking, has to expend 2 total. This is making you expend 2 plus 1 to cast it. The only way it's completely even is if PTA is targeting a 2 cost. I think this card is very bad, I'll be entirely honest. I do not see the synergy in existing Morfrost decks with Scorpio form, I'll be entirely honest.
From your Morfrost Indus. I think Scorpio could really change the game and provide a much needed buff to the Morfrost engine, and I can't wait to see what you guys come up with.
This is not the much needed buff they needed, Dan. I'm just saying.
I told y'all I was a Morfrost enjoyer myself, and Morfrost,
I know it's getting us now. This I saw.
As a stellar in Moonrise as well. Amalri absolutely crushed it with this
one. It's a cool
art.
I will say it's a cool art.
The green and orange shine so bright on this beautiful new stellar that you guys can chase after in Moonrise, where only 99 copies will ever exist. So if you're like me and you want to bling out your Morfrost deck, this is a card you don't want to miss out on. Don't you forget to back our Kickstarter for Elestrals.
Yeah, okay. No, I'm not too interested in that Morfrost. Okay, let me quickly go to Shady Penguin's Twitter so I can show you guys that new card, and then we'll swap over to the reveal that came out today, because this was obviously yesterday's reveal. Let's go to today's reveal. So here it is. Elestrals is letting me reveal a brand new card for the upcoming set. Moonrise meets Snowlit. This showy owl will let you fill your underworld when it receives a Frost Spirit. Are we getting more underworld support? Follow Elestrals for more reveals. So yeah, 4/2. When it receives 1 or more Frost, send the top 3 cards from your deck to your underworld. This card, to me, seems crazy for the Blistrix deck. It seems very good, and this makes Aurora Borealis a potential mainstay in this style of deck. I don't really think I don't think, like, for example, Frost Nexus really cares for this. I don't think, what's it called? Renaset cares for this. I think specifically Frost Mill cares about this. So I think Aurora Borealis, in terms of existing Frost decks, realistically will only see play in this deck. In that deck, I think it's crazy, but I don't see it seeing play outside of those decks. That's it for Snowlit. Let's get into the very next reveal. All right, so here we are. We are now officially caught up. Make a Wish, introducing Winjin and many more. So I've actually seen Winjin. This is before, there were a bunch of people posting cards on Twitter. I think this one was posted, no, Sunseed Jess posted, I forget its name, the Ant-Titan, Ant Bud or something like that. The first Ascension line, the first Ascension in that line. I can't quite remember what it's called, but she revealed that. Somebody else revealed Winjin. I don't remember who. It may have been Coder. I don't quite remember. I've seen this card already. I forget what it does, I'll be entirely honest, but it's an interesting effect based on what I remember it doing. I don't think it's very good, I'll say that right now.
Those epic reveals
but
today
we'll see.
As we count down 32 days until Moonrise pre-orders open on November 15th. Let's take a look.
Let's see.
Don't forget, Kickstarter backers do get early access to these updates, and you guys can check us out for our
Man, this is very delayed. This is very late.
So don't miss out on beta access before the end of the year, and even alpha access for December 1st. It's going to be wild. Shattered Stars Scorpio is kicking off, so don't miss out on Celebration Month. Head to shopelestrals.com to pick up your Shattered Stars packs. And again, Scorpio is going to be nuts. We've got new Stained Glass. We've got Constellation Artoxian. We've got Reverse Stellar Jolton.
My
Stellar
God,
Arcalyph.
the frickin' Jolton, man.
Large Stellar Phospicel. Oh my God, it's going to be nuts. One of our craziest months of Shattered Stars. So don't you miss out on it. For just $15, you get 3 new packs every single month delivered to your door. Shattered Stars Month 9 Scorpio is going to be epic. All right, let's talk brand new Moonrise reveals. We've got ourselves a brand new Nexus form of Corvishine, and that is Corvus Skull. Corvus Skull.
Interesting.
To attack.
Corvishine already getting a new one. 2-4. Is it the same stats? Hang on.
Form of
I think it is.
And
Same stats. Okay. Let's see what its lunar form does. I have to say, Rob Hicks, oh my God, that looks menacing. That is insanely menacing. That is so good. I love that artwork.
A 1-cost lunar with an incredible effect. Man, this thing is nuts.
When
this Corvus Skull receives 1 or more lunar spirit, you can foretell 3 cards and exchange a foretold card with a card in your underworld. The new card becomes foretold. What this means is that you
okay, I'm gonna let him explain. I think I know what this means. This basically allows you to, when you foretell a card, during that foretell, you pick one of those cards, move it to the underworld, then pick a card from your underworld, and move it to the foretold cards. So basically, it allows you to put a card from your underworld back on top of your deck. Maybe. Well, let's see if I'm correct.
The top 3 cards of your deck when you cast this thing, and you can say, these 3 cards are solid, but then I'm going to take one of them, and I'm going to put it in the underworld, and I'm going to grab a card from my underworld, and I'm going to put it with the group of the 3 foretelled cards, and then I'm going to reorder them in any way I want back onto the top of my deck. Absolutely bonkers. This provides so much.
Yeah, so it has potential. Based on what we've seen thus far with Lunar, or any card for that matter, I don't think it's going to be amazing right off the bat. This certainly has potential later on. The issue is that what exactly are you going to take from your underworld and put it on top? Are you going to put it like are you going to take, say, I don't even know, some sort of Elestral? Are you going to take like a Gorgon's Gaze, something like that? There's a lot of things that you could potentially do, but the fact that you don't get it until next turn is a little slow, and your opponent knows it's coming, so they can kind of play around it. So I don't really think Corvus Skull is the best thing in the world for that. Now, I know you don't have to put it to the top of your deck, but realistically, you're using this to put that card in your underworld on top of your deck. Why would you do it any other way? Just to get it back in your deck? Maybe just to get it back in your deck. I could say that, I guess. I don't think it's the best thing in the world. I think this is mostly kind of crazy for the fact that you can take one of the top 3 cards of your deck and just put one of them into the underworld. That has a lot of potential in future sets. Right now, I don't think it's going to be the craziest thing in the world, unless maybe you play this in, say, like, freaking, I don't know, Frost Mill, as we were just talking about. But I don't really think you want to play this in a Frost Mill deck. You don't want to play Lunar, I don't think, in Frost Mill. But like, I could see this being fine down the road. Right now, I don't think it's crazy. Certainly, this has potential in later sets, though.
Much synergy with a lot of the other Lunar cards. It's a really unique foretell card, and it can pair incredibly well with cards in your underworld, especially if there's something you really like. We saw how strong Ash Rabbit was in Daybreak, and I think Corvus Skull is going to
Did we? Did we? I don't think that many decks were playing Ash Rabbit. I'll be entirely honest. I saw some decks were playing it. Certainly, though, this was not a meta threat. This, I don't know what you're talking about, Dan.
Actually bring that mechanic to another level by being able to stack the top of your deck with cards you've already used. Look out for Corvuscull. This card's going to be crazy. Keeping the Lunar Foretell hype going.
Again, I don't think it's crazy in Moonrise. So far, based on the reveals we've gotten, I don't think it's crazy in Moonrise. Later on, I could see it being insane.
We've got a brand new Nexus form of Tectorus and Arcturus.
Of course,
that is
yeah.
Cryptorus.
Cryptorus
have been long revered by casters for their ability to prophesize the future with
what
the stone carving
Earth
on their
is
back.
this?
And this guy comes in with 2 attack and 4 defense and 1 cost Lunar. This Cryptorus gets +2 attack for each time you foretold this turn. So if you pair this with an Apollo, it immediately becomes a 4 attacker. If you pair it with its second effect, it becomes a 6 attacker. So you get stacked up the more foretelling you do. You can expend a Lunar Spirit in order to foretell 3, and at any number of Lunar Elestrals that cost at least 2 spirits foretold this way to your hand. I revealed Pulveror a little while back. We revealed a handful.
Is this good? Oh God, I don't. First of all, I'm just gonna be blunt. I think the artwork is cool, but what on earth is going on? Is the Cryptorus performing a ritual? Are they sacrificing something? What is happening in this artwork? I have no clue. I'm very confused. So, okay. Basically, by expending 1, you can add at least one 2-cost Elestral. I mean, I don't think this card's good for its first effect, I'll be honest. I think just getting a 4 attacker is not crazy. And yes, it technically can be a 6 attacker, 8 attacker, 10 attacker, something like that. I don't think that first effect is that good. Because I think getting that many foretells is something you're not going to do that often. So far in Lunar, we've seen, I was going to say 2 cards. We've seen 2 cards today that foretell in Lunar. I think we saw one other one. I don't quite remember. Was there a Lunar phase that foretold? I don't quite remember. But I don't think this card is super good for its first effect. Its second effect is kind of interesting because just by expending a Lunar, foretell 3, and for example, add a Pulveror that you foretold to your hand. And then you can immediately cast that Pulveror. I'm intrigued. I'm a little skeptical that that's going to be the best thing in the world because yes, you're foretelling, but realistically, if you whiff the foretell, I feel like this is bad if you whiff the foretell because you're left with just a 4 body and you've just expended a Lunar for nothing. So I think the fact that it can only add 2 spirits or more that you foretell is the thing that's making this card reach its downfall. I'm not the most interested in this. I could very easily see myself be wrong that this is not the best thing in the world, at least currently. Yes, you can get Pulveror, but there's obviously no guarantee you're going to hit a Pulveror. So that's sort of where my head's at. And we obviously do not have like First Light to just automatically put it on top before you commit to this. First Light can only affect solars. We don't have a Lunar version of First Light, so therefore we can't just stack it and then Cryptorus grab it. So I don't think it's good for that reason. I feel like it's inconsistent. It forces you to play multiple 2-cost Elestrals if you realistically want to get this effect off. And I don't think its first effect is going to be activated enough per turn to the point where you're able to get like a 6-8 attacker or whatever like that. So I think for the most part, this card is just a 4 attacker that has a very inconsistent effect. So I don't think this card's incredible.
Of 2 and 3 cost Lunar Elestrals, and Cryptorus will allow you to find them just a little bit easier while also being a decent attacker with its effect, putting it at a 4/4. So you're going to foretell those 3 cards if you find a Pulveror.
4/4 is not bad.
or maybe you find a posture move.
Certainly
you
not
add
amazing.
them to your hand and then put the other cards back however you want. Cryptoris looks to be absolutely incredible for the Foretell mechanic and for Lunar Elestrals when Moonrise drops. I really felt like I cooked in Moonrise. I'm not gonna lie. I'm really proud of a lot of these effects.
Yeah.
And the next two Elestrals that I'm gonna showcase are two of my favorite effects that I've ever written.
Interesting.
Windjin. Windjin is
Windjin. This is the card I've seen.
One defense, a 1-cost Wind Elestral, another Wind Receiver. When this Windjin receives 1 or more Wind Spirit, you can name a card. Then foretell 3. If 1 or more cards with that name are foretold this way, you may add 1 to your hand and special ascend this Windjin to Tornajin from your hand or deck. This does work with titled cards, so if you were to somehow run this in a Lunar Phase deck and declare Lunar Phase, well, chances are you're gonna land a Lunar Phase and you're gonna be able to special ascend Windjin into
Okay, fair. I wasn't, when I first saw this card, I was like, how consistent is this? Because I saw it was wind, and I was like, thinking about it in a wind deck. I guess technically speaking, though, you don't have, like, I was thinking about it in wind, and I was like, how exactly are you going to stack your deck so that you get this effect off every time? And in wind, I don't think it's possible. However, that is a fair point. If you play this card in Lunar Phase, chances are when you call a card name and you call Lunar Phase, chances are there will be at least 1 Lunar Phase on the top of your deck. Not only do you get to a special ascend this thing, you also get to add that Lunar Phase to your hand. So I guess in Lunar Phase, this can actually be pretty decent.
Tornajin, which could put on some serious pressure right away.
So let's see Tornajin.
This also combos really well as more cards get introduced with more title variants. And
yeah,
so
obviously.
To be able to predict accurately what's on the top of your deck. But you could also pair this with something like a First Light to stack the top of your deck.
That's
to
fair.
Make sure you're going to nail down that prediction. But you basically cast your Windjin, it receives a Wind Spirit, and you say, I think that there is a Pharaohgeist at the top of my deck. You foretell 3. Wham bam, if you get it right, you get to ascend. And Tornajin is no joke.
Yeah, let's see Tornajin.
Hits the field as a 2-cost.
Oh, I was really hoping this was going to be a Lunar, so I don't... Because I was thinking about this in terms of Lunar Phase. I think this is actually currently the only place this card can really hang is in Lunar Phase, because you can just constantly, or maybe, I guess they could see it in Solar, because if you just go First Light, stack your deck, and then cast it, you get to do that. So I guess Solar, Lunar, Solar's fine. I would have preferred it in Lunar, just because I want to call Lunar Phase and get this. But let's see what it does. It's an 8 attacker, which is interesting.
With 8 attack and 2 defense, and it is a Wind and Solar Elestral with a super cool effect. You can expend a Wind or a Solar Spirit. It's either or in order to search your deck for 3 cards with different names. You can grab anything. Any 3 cards in your deck.
What? Just grab 3 cards?
As long as they're different names. So Gorgon's Gaze, Ambrosia, and I don't know, Earthquake. Add 1 at random to your hand and shuffle the rest.
Oh, okay. I thought it just ended there. I thought it straight up just ended there. I thought it was just, well, I saw a second part of the effect. I didn't realize it was a continuation of the first effect. I thought it had 2 effects. This is interesting. I'm not the most... I feel like this effect can be very good. And in fact, we've seen stuff like with Ash Rabbit, where if you are able to just pick 3 cards in your Underworld that are all problems for your opponent, it doesn't matter which one you get to your hand, because you're guaranteed to get one of them to your hand. So like, it's obvious that you can just pick 3 cards that your opponent is going to have a difficult time dealing with. You can also just basically go ahead and cast this out and go Earthquake, Resting, and I don't know, the Lunar Phase, that the Lunar Phase card that freaking, what's it called? The removal Lunar Phase card. You can just do that, boom, you're good to go. You've got it, you've done it. Like that honestly does not seem that bad, if I'm being completely honest. It genuinely does not seem like the worst thing in the world. So I think this is fine. The one thing that's making me struggle with how good this card could potentially be is what deck do you run it in? Obviously, I've been saying Solar, Lunar Phase specifically. I think this currently is meant to be played in Solar, because obviously it is a Solar card. You can just expend Solar. So I feel like this can be very good in Solar. The fact that it's an 8 attacker as well is very, very important. In Lunar Phase, I think it could be good. The issue is that Lunar Phase is a very tight deck already. I don't really know if you have the means to fit in these two cards. But certainly in Solar, I could see this being played. I'm a little hesitant to believe that necessarily. It's a hard one. It's a very, very difficult one, I feel like. But I could potentially see this being fine. I think certainly, absolutely certainly, this will not be played in Wind. You could technically, I think this card, Tornagin, will see play, can see play in Wind. I don't think Windjin can. Because Windjin, you're not able to like guarantee what the top card of your deck is going to be, or top 3, so you don't know. But I could see this as a potential Ascension that you play in Wind. Other than that, though, I'm not the most interested in it. I think it's fine, but I'm not like frothing at the mouth, being like, this card is absolutely insane. It has potential to be crazy. I don't think it is as crazy as it could be.
Deck. I love it, man. You got 3 wishes. We'll see which one the genie's gonna grant. I think this card is gonna be super fun, and it's gonna be really easy.
It's a very cool card thematically. You get 3 wishes. Which one are you gonna grant? I think that actually is cool.
Now, I've given you support for this strategy with cards like First Light, but I've got some more support for you as well.
Okay.
Helios is back, but this time he's not on his chariot ride. He has taken a nice slumber. Helios' Slumber, a brand new counter rune added to Elestrals.
Interesting. One cost counter rune for Solar
that says target an Elestral in your underworld and put it to the top of your deck.
Okay, fair.
Baby. Not only are you going to be able...
So, certainly First Light is better than this card. That's obvious. And the fact that this is a counter rune, I do not like. This should have been an invoke rune, if I'm being entirely honest. I don't understand why they made this a counter rune. But I think this is cool at the very least because it does provide you additional support for Windjin to get it off more easily. Certainly, I think he's trying to make it so that this is played in Solar more specifically. But I'm a little skeptical about that it will be. I don't think this card at all is good. I'll let him explain. But I don't think this card is insane.
To put things to the top of your deck. But now you can stack the top of your deck with the Helios' Slumber with cards you've already utilized from your underworld. Absolutely nuts. And it allows you to target any Elestral, not just a Solar Elestral. Any Elestral in your underworld can be put right back to the top of your deck. I really can't wait to see what you guys do with this card because I think this card has a tremendous amount of potential in Elestrals. And Helios is...
No, I mean, I understand it. The thing that's putting me off is that it's not an invoke rune. I feel like this would be a little bit better as an invoke rune because I feel like if you're trying to make the Windjin support, you would make it so that this is an invoke rune. You go Helios' Slumber, put something on the top, and then cast Windjin and get the Tornadus. Not Tornadus. That's a freaking Pokemon. Tornagin out immediately. That being said, I kind of understand where he's coming from with this. As it being a counter rune because you're able to, in your opponent's end phase, activate this, put a card on top, and then immediately draw it. So you don't have to basically, your opponent doesn't have time to set up to potentially block whatever it is you're trying to do with that Elestral you put on top. But realistically, I feel like if you're activating this, you're either in a back and forth game or you are so far behind that you need something to deal with. This, to me, doesn't seem like something that will be seeing a ton of play. I really am struggling to think of a use case for this for a lot of things. But I think it can be fine. I could see it being fine. I'm not convinced, though. I'm just going to say that outright. I am not completely convinced.
Slumber. He's taking a nap, but your opponent won't be when you absolutely destroy them when they see the same card that just destroyed them a previous turn. Look out for Helios' Slumber. And as if today's reveals were not epic enough, I'm going to give you guys a brand new Stellar coming to Moonrise, and that is none other than Stellar Cryptoris. This is gotta be one of my favorite Stellar arts we've ever done. I think it's absolutely...
That one looks better than the original, in my opinion.
See, this Cryptoris has found a different prophecy.
I've just seen the Owloons in the top. I don't think that was there before.
As Volclips is a-coming, no doubt.
God, I'm so stupid. Guys, ignore me. Owloon, what am I talking... Guys,
about it. Get excited for
just
Stellar Cryptoris and all the awesome cards we revealed today.
Ignore me.
Moonrise pre-orders open on November 15th. This is your last shout out for Shattered Stars. Don't miss out on Celebration and of course Scorpio month. It's gonna be insane. You really don't want to miss out on it. Shattered Stars is such a great deal, and we continue to raise the bar with reverse holo commons now, constellation arts, much more. Reverse stellars like Jolts. It's so good, man. It's so good. And please, do yourself a favor, back us on Kickstarter.
Yes,
man.
back us. Not us. I'm not a part of them.
Kickstarter
back them.
Reveals a day early, and tomorrow's reveal, it's pretty spicy. I'll see you.
Okay, I like hearing that. Tomorrow's reveal is spicy. Interesting to see that. Okay, so
Lunar Spirit.
Just basically going through a recap with this. Corvus Skull has potential. I feel like in future sets. I think right now it's not the best thing in the world. Cryptoris, I think, is a bit of a not what's the word I'm looking for? Inconsistent card that doesn't get a boatload of attack like fast enough. Winjin certainly has potential with Tornajin. I'm not the most convinced by them though, because I fear that decks are not going to want to play this just because it's additional deck space that takes up stuff. I feel like, for example, you would rather play as your 2 cost. You would much rather play Lustragon over this. I don't see this being a crazy good card in Solar. Maybe there's another deck I'm thinking of. I don't think Wind necessarily needs these effects. It's weird. It's very weird. And obviously, Helios is Slumber that I'm still struggling to think of a use case for. And then Cryptoris. Stellar, which is really cool. I like the art. I like the art in that. But guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Really hope you enjoy. Really hope you did enjoy. If you did, make sure to slap the like button and subscribe for more. Hope to see all you guys in the next video. Goodbye.